Hello, families, parents, and students of Kimball School. I'm really happy to see that you guys are here. I hope this message finds you safe from COVID and that you are ready for school to start this fall. Go ahead and make a few announcements before I start my presentation. First of all, I wanted to share with you that I am very excited to be back here at Kimball School as a full-time teacher. I last year, as many of you may have known, was splitting my time with Central Elementary as well. So now I will be available for you guys in the afternoons, unlike last year where I was only at Kimball in the morning. The other announcement is I wanted to share with you that the background has changed. I am now in a new office here in my house, ready to teach, and a lot of the classroom activities will be done on a whiteboard that is going to be hung up here in the next couple days. In addition to that, my two instructional aides who work at Kimball will be on campus making to-go packages, if you would, or supply requests, fulfilling any work packets that are being made at the school, and they will be assisting with the parent pickups. Okay, so now that that is said, I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation. I'm going to share my screen here and get to the PowerPoint or the Google Slides. All right. So again, welcome back to RSP. I wanted to share with you guys that I'm very excited to have you guys all part of the class again. As you know, our sixth graders who were part of my class last year have moved on to middle school, and there are a number of new students who are coming aboard as new kindergartners arrive, new students are moving into the Kimball neighborhood, and we are screening new students to join the caseload as well. So I made this little picture of what my office will look like virtually. I have a little boy and a little girl here at the house who are possibly going to be popping their head in during my teaching. I'm hoping that they will be respectful, but as you know, life happens. And so with that said, I am aware that life happens for you as well at your homes. And so if you have family members popping in and out, I understand that. So today I want to talk about our class rules, our class times, my office hours, any materials that you're going to need this year, and how you can reach me. So this is the gist of what today's presentation is going to be about. Let's go ahead and dive into each of these topics individually. The first thing that we're going to talk about is going to be our class rules. One of my most important things that I need you guys to be aware of is that I need you on time on a daily basis. That will mean that you should probably, in best practices, be ready to go probably at least 5 minutes ahead of time. Make sure that all of your devices are working and that your internet connection is working ahead of time. That way we can make the most of our limited amount of time together. I need you to be attentive. That means that you need to pay attention during the limited amount of time that we have together. Be respectful of your classmates so that when they are speaking that you are paying attention to their questions. We don't want to waste time while we're together, and that we do want to make sure that all of our questions are met, and that if we are paying attention to what other people are asking, we don't need to ask the same question twice. Being respectful to one another is also important to me. I need you to turn off your microphone when you are not speaking, or when myself, Mr. Bandy, is speaking, or one of your classmates is in the middle of asking a question or presenting. Another thing about being respectful is I do need you to have your camera on so that we can see that you're focusing on the screen, that you are watching what's going on. I don't want to see somebody twirling around in the background or spinning in their chair, if you know what I mean. I want to make sure that you guys are focused on what's going on in our lessons. I'm going to go ahead and show this video to you guys of the do's and don'ts.
Would you like something to eat?
No, thank you. I'm doing my schoolwork.
Okay, so as you can see, there are some do's and don'ts that we don't want to be doing in the classroom. We want to make sure that we are respectful of each other and of the time that we are using in our class. Speaking of class time, there will be a 1-hour session of reading on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Thursdays, on our short days, I need you guys to understand that I will be having parent meetings for IEPs. Those of you kiddos who have math goals, there will be an additional 30-minute session on the Mondays, Wednesdays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays as well. But make sure that you guys are there during your sessions. I will begin RSP once classroom teachers are aware of your times. I need to send out an email to each of your teachers finding out what your daily schedules look like in your regular classroom, and we will put your RSP schedule around what's going on in your regular class. Office hours are a time of the day where I'm not actually going to be teaching whole class or even to small groups. It's going to be more of a one-on-one session where you guys can reach out to me. They will be determined once I finalized the class schedule with your class teachers. I will put a notice in your Schoology account to inform you when I make myself available for office hours. And then you can reach out to me, or your parents can reach out to me using the class dojo as soon as you are ready for office hours. Okay? Materials needed. I need you to make sure that your learning device is fully charged each day. Make sure that you know how to access the camera on your device so that you know how to either A, take a picture or record yourself for a presentation. And then I will be taking a limited amount of school supplies to Kimball so that the parents can get some pencils. I bought some folders for you guys so that you guys can keep your math separated from your language arts assignments. And then I will be supplying a limited amount of paper for you guys so that you can be working on our journal topics and our writing assignments. Okay? And then how to reach me. I'm going to continue to maintain a Class Dojo account for you parents who were with me last year. Nothing needs to be done. Those are already going to be in place. And then I will be also checking out my email throughout the day at mbandy@nsd.us. All right. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for listening to this presentation. I do want you to take a quick note of this NBC Nightly News Kids Edition for some additional information, because I want you guys to all know that we're not the only school in this nation who is going to be doing this distance learning.
Coming up, some school districts across the country are starting the school year off remotely.
This is also my school away from school.
We'll introduce you to some kids who are preparing and also share some important tips for you all at home. Plus, Dr. Torres will be here to answer your questions about the virus. Then we'll take you to this boot camp in Texas. It's doing more than just giving kids a chance to exercise. We'll explain. And history is made. Kamala Harris becomes the first black woman on a major presidential ticket in U.S. history.
I am incredibly honored by this responsibility, and I'm ready to get to work. I am ready to get to work.
This is NBC Nightly News, Kids Edition.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. We hope you're doing well. All this week on NBC News, we're taking a closer look at education and going back to school, whether that means in person in some form or remotely. And I know for some of you, heading back to school means grabbing those laptops and firing up the Zoom again. Look, we know remote learning is not ideal, but some school districts like Los Angeles and Chicago have made the decision to start off the school year remotely in an effort to keep you, your teachers, and staff safe from the virus. Because unfortunately, guys, the virus is still out there. Our own Kristen Dahlgren has a look now at some things you can do at home to prepare for remote learning.
This is the dining room where we turned it into a school station.
When Chris and his brother Chase found out they weren't going to return to school,
I was mad because, I want to see my friends at school, not rather than on a Zoom class.
I would like to actually be there than on a Zoom class.
many of you have mixed feelings about remote learning.
When I heard that we weren't going back to school, like in person, I was sad. But I'm excited that I still get to see my new friends and teachers.
We get it. You miss your friends, your teachers, the playground, and more. But in an effort to keep everyone safe, remote learning is here to stay in many places for now. Los Angeles, home of the second largest school district in the country, was among the first to decide not to bring students back to the classroom this fall.
What do you want to say to kids about? They turn on the TV. They know there's arguments going back and forth about should they be in school, should they not be in school. How would you break it down for them, what's happening?
First and foremost, we want to keep them safe. We understand being in school with your friends, the teacher, your classmates, the walk to school, the lunchtime, all that comes with being in school is an important part of your foundation. At the same time, it's a different way to learn, a new opportunity to learn, take advantage of it, and this will be passed soon enough.
When schools closed in March, Los Angeles Unified School District provided a laptop and internet access to every child who needed them.
This is also my school away from school.
Meet third grader Lily Martinez. She's ready for the new school year.
Virtually. That's how I'm preparing. I'm preparing virtually.
The 8-year-old is a pro when it comes to Zoom.
For example, the mute button. Some kids have trouble muting. They're like, oh no, where is it? I can't find the mute button. So I would say, okay, so take your mouse, go down to the bottom left corner, and clicking on this microphone that says mute underneath. Sit up straight, raise your hand when you have a question for the teacher.
And she says before school, it's always a good idea to include the following in your morning routine.
Get dressed, breakfast, and brushing your hair and teeth is also a good touch.
Another good touch, experts say, make a list during the school day.
And that's a great way to keep track. I write down lists all the time in my notebook. In our family, we have a whiteboard. I have ADHD and I get distracted really easily. So it's hard for me to remember things. So if I write it down, then I get to celebrate when I've completed it.
And you can also personalize your learning space at home.
Take control over the way you set up your space. If you have a picture that you really like, Bring it, set it up next to your computer. A drawing that you did, a drawing that someone else did, a family photo, whatever it is, creating that personal space makes it yours.
Now we're going to mix together almond butter, maple syrup, eggs, and vanilla extract.
How about even a special sweet treat for your first day?
Morning Glory cookies are the perfect treat to bake on your first day of school with your family. And I love them because they're super easy, healthy, and yummy.
At Peterbilt, we work every day to provide our customers with the highest quality.
And just remember, even though your teachers will not be physically with you, they have your back.
Even if we can't be with you, I want to let you know that your teachers are here for you and always rooting for you. We miss you so much, and we want nothing more than to be with you in school.
As teachers, we chose this profession because we love children. And that's you guys. We love you. We love teaching you. We love everything about you. Your quirkiness, your your punny jokes, just your ways of being are just wonderful to be around. And we love children. We want you to succeed. That's what we want most of all, is for you to succeed. And that's not going to change because we're not in a physical classroom. Never forget, we're in this together. We're in this with you. We're in this for you. And together, we will rock this year.
All right, thanks, Kristen. For a little more on remote learning, joining us now is 14-year-old Anya Cabra. Anya lives in Memphis and is a reporter for Scholastic Kids. Always great to talk to a fellow journalist, Anya. Tell me what's going on in your school district. You're in Shelby County, Tennessee. Are you guys going to be in the class or remote learning?
So Shelby County recently switched to all remote.
So I know you've spent some time on the phone and email trying to get the sense of how kids are reacting to that. What are some of the concerns and thoughts that they shared with you?
So I did talk to some kids from the ages 4 to 15 in the Shelby County district, and most of them, they're excited as well as a little disappointed that they won't be able to see their friends or their teachers this year. So some of their major concerns that they shared were about sports. I actually spoke with the health administrator, and he told me that this year it was going to be probably unlikely to have any team sports in our area. But they also said that they would try to keep up physical education in schools.
So did you speak to teachers about extracurricular activities, things like some of the music programs? Will any of those things be taking place?
Yes, I actually did speak to an orchestra director from middle school, and she told me that this year it would be harder for them to perform as a group. But this year they're mainly going to focus on developing students' individual technique, and they would have more of a focus on that rather than playing as a group.
Are any of the kids concerned about their grades?
Yes, some students, especially the ones that are newly entering high school, are slightly concerned because the setting will be completely new for them. But I actually did speak to a few high schoolers, and they did have some tips for how students can adjust to online learning. So their suggestions were for students to just stay concentrated on their curriculum and their classes, even though it may be a little more difficult since it's a completely new setting and a setup of learning. But they just said that students should stay focused and put in effort, and that way it'll be a lot easier to learn online too.
Well, that's terrific. Anya, it's so important what you were doing. People are really craving facts and information, and reporting is an important part of that. So appreciate you spending some time with us, and hopefully we can check back with you another time and see how things are going.
All right, thank you so much.
Well, as kids head back to school, both remotely and in person, the virus outbreak continues in some parts of the country. Here to answer your questions is Dr. John Torres. Dr. John, our first question comes from North Carolina.
Hi, Mr. Holt. My name is Adelaide. I live in Cairo, North Carolina. My question is, when are the playgrounds going to open? Bye-bye.
Good question. And Dr. John, I've seen a playground here in my neighborhood and there's no kids on it, and it bothers me. When will they open?
And I tell you, kids really want to get to the playgrounds. Heck, as adults, we want to get outside and play as well. And in some areas, the playgrounds have started to open up. In other areas, they're starting to think about when they can open up. But one of the important points is to make sure that the coronavirus cases in your community, in your neighborhood, are low, and then the playgrounds might open up at that point. But when it comes to playgrounds, there are some things to think about. There's good parts to being out in a playground. Number one, fresh air, which means the virus can't focus as much on the people that are there. And number two, a lot of space. And so you can get 6 feet away from other people. You can do that social distancing. On the not quite as good side, there are a lot more people there, which means your chances of getting it from somebody else are higher. On top of that, they're touching a lot of surfaces, the slide, the swing, all the different surfaces. If you touch them and get coronavirus on your hands and then touch your face, you might get it in your body that way. And that's why it's important to remember the 3 W's. Number one, always wear a mask when you're out there. Number two, make sure you watch that social distancing. And number 3, wash your hands. On a side note, bathrooms at playgrounds may or may not be open, so you need to be prepared for that. If they're open and you use a bathroom, make sure you clean your hands before you go in and make sure you clean them again once you come out.
All right, our next question, Doctor, comes from Jordan.
Hi, Lester Holt. My name is Jordan Wallace, and I am 7 years old. Here's my question for you. How do people who make masks stay safe?
Well, that's an interesting one. What about it, Dr. John?
You're right. It's a very interesting question because people have to make these masks. How do they keep themselves safe? You know, whether they're making the kind of masks we use in the hospital, the N95 masks, or the surgical masks you see a lot of people wearing, or even the masks that they look like the ones we make at home, but they actually make these in a factory, they need to stay safe as well. So they're doing the same things that we do to keep safe. They're wearing masks while they're at work. They're making sure they stay 6 feet away from everybody else. They wash their hands a lot, especially before they take their masks off, so they don't touch their face with any hands that might be contaminated. And then they don't hang out in big groups, whether they're at lunch or at the end of the day. They make sure they just go ahead and go home to keep themselves, their community, and all their friends safe as well.
All right, Dr. John, thanks as always. And kids, thanks for your questions. We turn now to the presidential election. And kids, even though you're not old enough to vote right now, that doesn't mean you can't be involved. History was made this week when presidential candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden picked Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate. Did you know Kamala Harris is the first black woman on a presidential ticket in American history? The 55-year-old is from California and is the daughter of immigrants, a Jamaican father and an Indian mother. In her autobiography, Kamala writes that her mother encouraged her and her sister to embrace their biracial heritage. And kids, just a reminder, the main role of a vice president is to step in if something happens to the president. And of course, they can also be advisors to the president. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris appeared together on Wednesday for the first time since Senator Harris joined the ticket.
My fellow Americans, now let me introduce to you, for the first time, your next Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
I am incredibly honored by this responsibility, and I'm ready to get to work. I am ready to get to work. And you know, my mother and father, they came from opposite sides of the world to arrive in America. One from India and the other from Jamaica, in search of a world-class education. But what brought them together was the civil rights movement of the 1960s. And that's how they met, as students in the streets of Oakland, marching and shouting for this thing called justice, in a struggle that continues today. And I was part of it. My parents would bring me to protests strapped tightly in my stroller. And my mother, Shamala, raised my sister Maya and me to believe that it was up to us and every generation of Americans to keep on marching. She'd tell us, don't sit around and complain about things, do something. So I did something. I devoted my life to making real the words carved in the United States Supreme Court, equal justice under law.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are running against President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. They will be on the ballot in November. Finally, we want to bring you an inspiring story out of Texas about a young girl who decided to run with an idea after the game plan for team sports changed due to the pandemic. Here's Natalie Morales.
These kids are making great strides and bringing the community together.
I love it because, it's fun because I get to see all my friends.
And it's all thanks to Caroline Carey. The 8-year-old has been leading weekly workout classes in her Dallas neighborhood. With sports clubs and camps canceled, Caroline had a slam dunk idea.
You need to get your body grooving, and it's fun to exercise a lot.
Every Saturday, kids start their morning off with the Sea Dogs Front Yard Boot Camp.
Okay, so we start off with 2 laps. You got it. Then we do the circle stretches. Then we do burpees and donkey kicks and frog jumps and a lot of other stuff.
The class is about more than just staying fit, but doing good too. Caroline is donating the sign-up fees to the Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration in honor of her grandmother.
2 laps around this yard.
A total touchdown.
Thanks, Natalie, and great job, Caroline. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching, everybody. And parents, just a reminder, if your child has a question, send a video to us at nightlynewskids@nbcuni.com. We'll see you here next time. And remember, take care of yourself and each other.
Okay, stop sharing my screen here. So yeah, I just want to again say thank you guys for getting signed up for RSP, and I'm looking forward to this year getting off and getting started as soon as we get the thumbs up from all the classroom teachers that they're ready for you guys to join my groups. So hang tight, and look forward to seeing all of your faces next week. Have a good day.